The Eagles' defensive line might as well be sponsored by Viagra because they always rise to the occasion. Deep penetration. Deep. Yeah. Deep penetration. We're on to the defensive line as the 2018 Eagles training camp preview continues. So let's get into this unit. And, I made a video about, I want to say right before the NFC Championship game, I think I did this, where I proclaimed the Eagles defense the clutchest in the NFL. You see, there are Patriots fans that say that the Eagles got lucky in the Super Bowl, that strip sack by Brandon Graham was lucky. Wasn't luck at all because, well, it was something that the Eagles were actually doing all season long. Week 1, they put the game away against Washington. Brandon Graham strip sack. Fletcher Cox waltzes in for the game-clinching touchdown. It happened again in Week 6 against the Panthers. They had a 3rd and 1 and a 4th and 1. Eagles defense stands tall. Rams in Week 14 were moving the ball at will against the Eagles. Carson Wentz gets hurt. Eagles need to make a play. Here comes Chris Long for the strip sack, and that swings all the momentum in Philadelphia's favor. You go to the Giants game, Week 15. 1st and goal from inside the 10. There's the goal line stand. Week 16, 5 turnovers forced against Oakland in the second half. Atlanta, divisional round. We saw another impressive goal line stand. And then obviously in the Super Bowl, Brandon Graham with the strip sack on Tom Brady. This was going on all year long, ladies and gentlemen. Luck, get the fuck out of here. Luck. Yeah. Proof was in the pudding. And along with being clutch, the Eagles obviously also stuffed the run. They surrendered just 3.8 yards per carry. That was 6th in the NFL. They led the league in rushing yards allowed per game at 79.2. The wide 9-1 gap attacking unit, they registered 38 sacks. That was tied with Dallas for 15th. You might think, oh, that's a low sack total, but you got to remember that a lot of the teams that were playing the Birds, a lot of quick 3-step drops, trying to get the ball out. That's how you attack the Eagles defense. That's basically the only way you can be successful. You quick 3-step drops and double moves to get to beat the cornerbacks. So a story to potentially keep an eye on this summer, Brandon Graham's potential extension. If you extend him, all of a sudden you keep the quartet of he, Fletcher Cox, Timmy Jernigan, Derek Barnett in Philly for the long haul. So you got Barnett and Jernigan, they're signed through 2021. Cox is here until 2022. And I made a video about this too earlier in the offseason. I don't think that Graham is too old to get an extension. The way that the Eagles rotate linemen in and out, they keep everybody fresh. His age does not worry me as much. He doesn't rely on athleticism as much as the other defensive ends. Once you kind of get to that 30 mark, the athleticism starts to dwindle. But his game is about technique, heavy hands, timing the snap. That's what Brandon Graham is all about, setting the edge in the run game, coming down the line. It's more about technique than athleticism, and obviously he's aged like a fine wine. He keeps getting better each and every year. So there you go. The other guy to keep an eye on, obviously, is Derek Barnett. What kind of leap should we expect from him in year 2? Jim Schwartz was asked this question in June during OTAs, and here's what he had to say. So he goes, most players make a significant improvement from year 1 to year 2. I think it's sort of one of those adages of the NFL. That's where you see a significant improvement. He set that bar pretty high in his first year, made a lot of big plays for us, also gained a lot of experience dealing with the long season and not just 4 preseason games and the regular season, but deep into the playoffs and things like that. He had some bumps and bruises just like everybody and experience of dealing with that stuff. But yeah, I think he's more seasoned now, a little bit stronger now. Obviously, he's been through the ringer, knows what to expect. I think that's a big part of young players too. When you're a rookie, there is so much uncertainty, and after you do it once, it settles down. So obviously, Barnett, adept pass rusher. He recorded 5 sacks during his rookie campaign. one behind Derek Burgess for the franchise all-time rookie mark. So heading into the year last year, I was curious to see if he would be able to pass Burgess. And the way that he was going to pass Burgess was to add more moves to the repertoire. Because right now, he's got that shoulder dip. He bends the edge. He's exceptional at that. But you need to add more moves to the arsenal. That's why Joey Bosa had so many sacks during his rookie year, because he's got like 3 to 4 moves. The great pass rushers have 3 to 4 moves. And right now, Derek Barnett has one great move, and he needs to work on some secondary pass rush moves. And once he does that, and once he's able to figure all that out, that is when the sack totals are really going to start to come. So keep an eye on all that. So there you go. So those are my thoughts on Derek Barnett right now. And also the other one acquired was Michael Bennett. Acquired, God, when was that? I forget exactly when that was, like what month that was. But obviously he was acquired along with a 7th-round pick from the Seattle Seahawks for a 5th-rounder and wide receiver Marcus Johnson. So Vinny Curry was a free agent at the end of the year. So you go from Vinny Curry to Michael Bennett. Yeah, that's an upgrade. He's 32 years old now. But, just like Brandon Graham, I'm not really worried about the age with Bennett, especially when you look at what he did in Seattle last year. I mean, 941 snaps last year, 84.8% of the total. So 941 snaps. Compare that to Graham, 728 snaps. That led the team last year. Michael Bennett had 200 more snaps than Brandon Graham last year. So Graham, 728 snaps. That's 64% of the team's total. So you look at again, this is like a hockey team here in Philadelphia. The way that Schwartz shifts his defensive linemen in and out of a game, it's going to keep everybody fresh. The other guys back, I mean, obviously you got Chris Long back in the fold. Josh Sweat, Eagles take a chance on his knees in the 4th round. He might only be a one-contract guy in Philly, but there's some potential there, obviously. All right. Let's get to Timmy Jernigan now. He signed a 4-year, $48 million extension, $26 million guaranteed in early November. Production declined following the contract. He was great to start the year. Fletcher Cox missed a couple games to start the season, and he filled in very, very well. And when he's at his best, because he wasn't at his best at the end of the year, but when he's at his best, his presence allows Cox to see less double and triple teams. So that opens up things for everybody else with Fletcher there. We know about the back injury while he worked out in March, underwent surgery in May. So he's going to miss about 4 to 6 months. Bo Allen is now in Tampa Bay, so you don't have somebody that you can just plug in there. So you're going to have to pick between Haloti Ngata, Destiny Vial, Elijah Qualls. I'm going to guess that the starting spot is going to go to Ngata, the run-stuffing 34-year-old. Obviously not the player he once was, but if you play him in spurts, it can work out. I like Vial more than Qualls. I'm not a big Qualls guy, but Vial has flashed for me in years past. The other guy, man, Stephen Means, dude. Like, I haven't even talked about him yet. I'm pretty high on Stephen Means. He's probably the best practice squad player in the NFL because this dude is pretty good. He's got a really quick spin move. He's got some moves in his arsenal. If he was in any other defensive line, if he was on any other defensive line, he would be in the rotation. But he's not consistently in the rotation here in Philadelphia because obviously the depth is, well, it's a crowded line. Not a lot of snaps to be had for some of these guys like Stephen Means. But there you go. I like Stephen Means as well. So you look at how football games are won. They're won in the trenches. The Eagles, they have the 2 best lines in the NFL. Offensive line and defensive line. So if it starts up front, well, the Eagles have it. So there you go. Those are pretty much my thoughts on the defensive line. Let me know below, how many sacks do you see Derek Barnett getting this year? How many, who gets the start for Timmy Jernigan to start the year? Who makes the team? Let me know below. So that's that. Is Brandon Graham going to get his extension? Whatever the hell you want to say below, let me know. I'm Adrian Fedke. I'm out of here. Take care. See you.